Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Eve.
I'm Janitzi.
Y somos
Las Huevonas.
Today, I found something really interesting on the internet.
What did you find?
It sounds kind of sus, no?
Yeah. Are you on the dark web or something?
Yeah. No. It's just porn. No. I was on Reddit. Just casually on Reddit, as one does.
Okay.
I don't think that's a normal thing for people to do, is it?
I've never been on Reddit, actually.
Oh. So just me?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
I've heard stories like people read other people's stories from Reddit, but I've never actually scrolled
So that's
on Reddit.
what I did.
Okay.
I was reading other people's
Fun.
stories, and somehow I got into the realm of weird dating stories. And you know what? I was like, you know who has weird ass stories? Janitzi.
Great. Thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate that.
So there is one that I wanted to talk to you about, and then I do want to hear your weird ass stories.
Okay.
I'll tell you mine, but mine are not just weird, they're also traumatic.
Oh, fun.
So I'll tell you the one that I saw, and we'll go from there. But the one that I saw is just so, like, I think part of the thing with Reddit is, like, it's slightly anonymous.
Okay. Slightly?
Right.
What do you mean by slightly? Like, you eventually find out who it is?
I mean, like, if you care enough, I think you can find out who it is. You know what I mean? But for the most part, like, you're not gonna really know who these people are.
Okay.
Point is, because they're slightly anonymous, they tell you weird ass stories.
Okay.
Like, things maybe you would never say in person, and you would have to pay me $1 million to say out loud.
Oh, God. Is it like a diary? Is it like people's diaries on there?
Kind of, right.
Okay.
So I read one, and it's from Independent Head 30.
Right.
And she said the title is My Date Peed His Pants. And just,
These are real stories?
I mean, unless they're really good at lying. But yeah, I think most of these are really real weird stories.
Okay.
And she said, a grown man peed his pants on our second date because he spent the whole time talking himself out of excusing himself to the restroom for fear of being rude, as if we don't all use the bathroom several times a day. Eventually, it was too much, and he peed his pants. And then argued with me the next day when I said I didn't want to see him again. Can you imagine being like, how dare you not want to see me again after I peed my pants for you?
Not even that. Let's just say you're sitting and you're eating, and all you're thinking is, I have to take a piss. And you're just there, and then you just pee your pants. You don't want your date to know, but then it's time for you to leave.
Yeah.
And you're just, I would have been like, what? It just freaking happened.
The thing is, like, I need to pee so often.
You do need to pee a lot.
I need to pee so often that, like, I will in one day I'll probably go twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
No, I feel like
More?
yes.
I think it used to be worse.
Okay.
I think
Fair.
I've gotten better.
Okay.
I practice. No, I've gotten better. But, like, I cannot imagine
Holding it.
and also, like, peeing on yourself. I think, so part of it is, like, I have a thing where, like, I get so anxious, like, I have so much anxiety that, like, instead of peeing on myself, I would faint. Because, like, I would stop breathing from how much anxiety. Like, oh my god, I need to use the restroom, and, like, so much anxiety of, like, needing to use the restroom that I would pass out from not breathing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's happened.
Yeah, don't hold it.
Yeah. It's also, like, bad for you.
Yeah, I've gotten a kidney infection. Remember? Oh no, I got a bladder infection. It wasn't a kidney infection. It was a bladder
I was
infection.
like, wait. That was one story.
Okay. You go first. What's your story? You said you had one, and I don't think I've heard this one.
Well, my story is more like, so I'll tell you the awkward one first.
Okay.
Okay. So my story is not like he peed his pants, because
Okay.
that would be hilarious and I would talk about it all the time. um, no, I did go on a lot of dates. So
Mhm.
at this time, I was like going on a lot of Hinge dates.
Okay.
Just because I was like, I had been single for, I don't remember how long now. And I was like, I had been in a relationship for 5 years prior, which is like since high school at that point. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, let me go see
What's out there?
what's out there. What are the college guys like? Let me, you know what I mean? Like, let me go see. So I went on a bunch of dates, like a bunch of dates. And I remember one like stood out to me because it was so like awkward. First of all, on his Hinge profile, you're always gonna get the guys that lie, right? But on his Hinge profile, he said he was like 5. I can't remember what he said. 5'8".
Okay.
When I tell you he was my height, or like shorter,
Wait, how tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Okay, fun.
Yeah, so I was just like, you're missing about 5 inches to you, bro. So I get there and I was just like, oh shit. And it was like interesting because he did look like his profile picture. But it was just like smaller.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain that. Like, it felt like unproportional.
Maybe he took the pictures at a higher angle to make him look
Like lower angle.
Or yeah, a lower angle
So
to make him look like a higher.
Yeah. That's what I think happened. Anyways, so we get there. We're at like mini golf because I feel like that's where everybody wants to go on their first date or whatever. And it was like the middle of the day. It wasn't even like nighttime, which was already weird to me. But I come to find out it's because he was more of a hoe than me. Because I was, of course, going on a lot of dates, but I wasn't going on more than one a day. I'm a respectful hoe.
He said, we have to do it 2 p.m. because I got somewhere to be at 5 p.m.
And that's exactly what was happening. So we were doing mini golf. He was talking to me about he wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
A 5'3" actor that wanted to be Spider-Man. Me too, though. I don't know what to tell you because I would also want to be Spider-Man. If it happens, it happens. I'm putting that out there. I will be Spider-Man one day.
I want to be Zendaya.
Oh, period. And so, yeah, he was talking to me about like how he's an actor, and I was telling him like, oh yeah, like I used to act in high school, like I really wanted to be an actor too, but whatever, life got in the way. We were talking, it was all like cool. I was like trying to get past the point where he was
5'3".
5'3". And then because I was like in my head I was like, I'm not this shallow, I can talk to him. I think I am. So I was talking to him, and then all of a sudden I see on his like Apple Watch, he starts getting notifications, and they're Bumble notifications, and I could see it because obviously I had Bumble too. I know what they look like, but I don't have notifications on my phone because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But he was getting notification after notification after notification, and then at one point he stopped and started replying to one
in
front of me, and I was just like, oh, this is not going well.
That's rude.
Right. And so I was just like, this is awkward. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, do I bring it up? Like, oh, so like you talk to a lot of girls? But then I didn't want to sound flirty because I didn't like him.
Fair. And then it would have been kind of weird if you said something too, because it was like the first date.
Right. Like, it was going to come off wrong. Either way, whether it was like a flirty or if it was like a crazy,
yeah.
Like it was just gonna come off wrong. So I didn't say anything, but I kept watching it. And then at one point he opened it and I was behind him. He was like sitting down. Tell me why I was just like, okay, so we're still on for today at 4:30 or something like that. It was literally 2 something, and I said, that's interesting. How does that work?
I would have honestly made him late to his date. Oh, let's go here. Let's do this.
Right? No, I didn't like him. I didn't want to spend any more time with him than I had to. Like, I was waiting for the, like, little 8 things to fucking finish in the golf course. So I could, no, I drove. So that was also rule number, I don't know, for me.
Fair.
I drove to all my dates. Because I was scared. Rightfully so. People are weird.
Yeah.
And so I drove to all my dates. So after the date, he's like, hey, I had a really good time with you. Do you think I could have your number and like we can like go on another date? Like, did you have a good enough time so that we could go on a second date? And I was just like, okay, also, I'm very anxious and I don't know how to reject people. So I said, yeah, like it was so fun. Sure, you can have my number. So I gave him my number and then I just ghosted him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Period.
Because
you didn't need someone like that anyway. If he's doing that when you're dating, imagine what he's doing when you're together.
No, but also like I didn't like him. But I just thought it was so weird. Like how, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
that's just rude at that point. Whether you like somebody or not, you don't text your other date in front of your date.
No. But like, I just think it's weird to have like, how horny are you that you have to have your notifications on? Do you know what I mean?
I guess.
Like, and
has so-and-so texted me?
Yeah, and like to be like dinging every like literally it was like every 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Do you really need it that bad? Like, I just think it's crazy. So yeah, that's just like my weird story. I know it's nothing compared to what you've gone through. So I do want you to tell some of your stories.
Okay. I think I am going to share 2 of them.
Okay.
Because I feel like these people, one of them is really funny, but the second one is very much like.
Okay. You tell one, and then I'll tell one after, and then you tell your second one.
Fair. Okay, so I am going to start off with, this was back, I don't even remember when, to be honest with you. But I also had gotten I also had just gotten out of a like 4 or 5 year relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm not gonna lie, I started going on dates pretty fast, only because I was mentally checked out with my boyfriend at the time before I broke up with him. So when I broke up with him,
and I think that's like the case for most girls, right?
Yeah,
like
I think so.
Most of the time, like especially if they're the ones to break up.
I feel like, I don't want to speak for every girl, but I feel like majority of the girls that I know, when they break up with their boyfriend, they mentally broke up with their boyfriend
months before,
so
and
they're just do it.
They're just waiting to make sure that they made the right decision.
Yeah. So that's what happened to me. So whatever. I did start dating, maybe like 2 months after, and
that's a respectful time.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so this dude, we actually went to high school together, but we never talked. We never talked in high school. Nothing. I was friends with one of his friends, and that's how I knew about him. And so we ended up following each other on Instagram, and we started talking through DM, whatever. And so we start hanging out. But then also, again, I was also talking to other guys. But again, I was just talking to these guys. It's not like, I was leading anybody on or anything.
Right.
So I was talking to this other guy, and then there was this one time, oh my god, there was this other guy.
Okay, I need you to label these guys.
Okay, we're just gonna call him guy number 1, guy number 2, and guy number 3.
Okay, perfect. Okay. I love that there's 3 guys already.
Okay, so there was this weird situation with guy number 1, where I was just like, okay, you need to just leave me alone. You're kind of weird. I don't want to talk to you anymore. But he wanted it to be something serious, and I was like, no, it's been 2 months since I've been single. Right. I don't want anything serious. And so whatever, I start ghosting guy number 1, and then I started talking to guy number 2, which is the guy that I went to high school with. Okay, so that's guy number 2. So I started talking to guy number 2, and then on Instagram, I was also talking to guy number 3. Mm-hmm. And there was this point where guy number 2 was like, hey, I'm just gonna drop off breakfast before you head to work, and then if you want, I'll give you a ride to work. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So tell me why I get a knock on my door, and I'm like, oh, period, it's guy number 2 bringing me breakfast. He's here. I open the door, and it's a delivery guy with flowers.
Oh.
And then I'm like, and he's like, oh, for Janitzi? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then he's like, here you go. And then he was about to leave, and I was like, who are these from? Oh, guy number 1. And I'm like,
oh.
After I knew guy number 1 delivered flowers, I know he was scoping the area. I'm like, guy number 2 cannot show up if guy number 1 is around the fucking area.
You think he was like outside watching?
He was definitely outside.
He's like
watching.
in the bushes, like, did she get them? How did she react? How did you react when like
I didn't know how to react. And when because I had already told guy number 1, please stop talking to me, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I knew I had this gut feeling he was
there
somewhere outside. So
Ew.
I grabbed the flowers and I threw them away in the trash can in my front yard so that he could see it, that I threw them away.
Wow.
And so then
period.
Guy number 1 and so then guy number 1 sees that I throw the flowers away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I actually run back inside and I call guy number 2 and I'm like, hey, like, I'm actually gonna leave to work. Like, you don't have to bring the breakfast.
He's like, I'm actually at the corner. He's like, I'm in your front doorstep.
And so I was like, if you want, you could just take it to my job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so he was like, I'm actually outside. And I'm like,
oh, I was just kidding.
No, honestly, he was like, I'm actually outside. And I'm like, there's no, my hands are actually getting really sweaty right now.
Oh my God.
So he was outside and I'm like, no, there's no way. I didn't know what to do. I went inside my house. It was like a blessing in disguise that my parents just decided to take a trip to Mexico and they weren't home. I was by myself. So I run back inside and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, what do I do? What do I say? Or like, whatever, right? And so then guy number 2 knocks on my door and he's bringing me breakfast. And I'm like, we gotta go. Like, we just have to go. He's like, why? Like, he's like, are you okay? Like, you don't seem okay. I was like, no, we just have to go. And so then guy number 1 and guy number 2 see each other.
Oh.
And then they start like wanting to fight. And I was telling guy number 1, you need to get the fuck out of here. You need to leave. And then guy number 2 was like, you need to fucking leave. I'm gonna fuck you up. And I was like, oh my God, okay.
Wait,
so at this
pause. Quick question. Just like out of curiosity. Do you find it hot when a guy's like trying to defend your honor? Like, I'm gonna fuck you up for her.
I do. But at this point, because, and I'll get into it, guy number 2, I was not into guy number 2 at all.
Oh.
So
at this point, you're just like, both get the fuck off my property.
Get out of my fucking property. Yeah, so then guy number 1 and guy number 2 see each other. And they start going off at it. And then guy number 2 was like, who is this? But I'm like, it's nobody. Like, it doesn't even fucking matter. And I was telling him, like, guy number 1, you need to get the fuck out of here. Guy number 2, let's go. Like, you need to drive me to work now because I can't drive. Like, I was hysterical. I was crying. I was just like, I was more scared because I have cameras at home.
Right.
And my dad has access to those cameras.
Oh.
So I was just like, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just crying. They were causing a scene. I was like, we have to go. Long story short, he's driving me to work and he's like, if everything's gonna be fine, like, let me know, I'll pick you up because he's probably gonna be weird about it, whatever. And then I'm at work, right? And then I get a message from guy number 3. A weird message from guy number 3.
I forgot about him.
And he's like, I would have reacted that way if somebody brought flowers to my house. And I'm like, I left him on open. This was on Snapchat, so I know he saw that I left him on open. And I didn't reply to him.
Hell no.
And I was like, you saw that with the question mark? Bitch. He was the flower delivery guy.
Shut the fuck fuck
Guy
up.
number 3 was the flower delivery guy. And yeah, guy number 3 was a flowers delivery guy and saw that guy number 1 deliver flowers to me. And guy number 2 saw guy number 1.
I'm so fucking sorry.
But keep in mind, it wasn't like, oh my god, like I want to be with guy number 1, but I also want to be with guy number 2. It wasn't nothing like that. Guy number 2 always knew I didn't want anything serious. Guy number 1 knew I didn't want anything serious, and guy number 3 was just like somebody you talk to on social media.
Right.
We never went on a date.
Yeah.
We never did anything. It was just like a Instagram type thing.
Yeah.
Snapchat here and there. But yeah, dude, I was like, there's no way.
So how did you not know that the delivery guy was guy number 3?
Because this was around COVID, so he had to wear a mask and he had his little flower delivery hat on. So I literally only saw this. Plus, again, I've only ever seen him on social media, so I never knew what this person looked like in person.
Honestly, I would throw my phone away. I would be like, you know what? Let's start over. Because I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It turns out guy number 3, the one that delivered the flowers to me, had a whole ass girlfriend.
That's such a weird triangle that you were in.
Yeah. My life was wild, and after I got out of a freaking 4 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of my stories.
Wow. Period. I love that for you, but that was crazy.
Yeah. It was at the time, it was a really scary experience. It was a really confusing experience, but now I can laugh about it.
Yeah.
So, that's all that matters, I think.
Yeah. I'm still in shock. I'm so sorry. Hold on. They all just staring at each other like the Spider-Man memes. Fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Anyways. I have nothing to follow that up. I mean, so my most craziest thing to happen to me was super traumatic as well. On this wild spree of dating guys, I went on a date with this one guy. The conversations on Hinge were okay, you know. I was like, whatever. So I expected it to be the same thing, same routine, right? We're gonna go on a date. I'm gonna get some free food. We'll talk. It'll be mediocre. I'll never talk to this guy again. That was literally my routine at the time. I was ready for it to be that. We went on a date, and it was actually pretty good. There were some red flags that I just decided to ignore, which are just very, I don't know what to tell you about that. And he was ugly. He was very ugly. And I, again, me trying to prove a point, I'm not shallow. I'll talk to him. It'll be fine. Honestly, at this point, you should just trust your gut. If you think he's ugly and you don't want to talk to him, don't talk to him.
Trust your gut.
Don't talk to him.
All the time.
Because he's ugly. Let me, look past it, right? So, we keep on talking, and we start hanging out. There's more red flags. He was very, possessive.
Okay.
And we're not even together.
Oh, shit.
If he was gonna grab me to go somewhere, it was con todo su fuerza.
Full you type thing.
And I was just why is he acting that way? But then he would play it off as I'm joking. This is a joke. And I'm just okay, funny joke.
So funny I forgot to laugh. I got scared instead.
At one point, we're in the car, and he has a picture of me on his
visor?
Yeah, on the visor. And I don't like the picture. I'm take it down, bro.
Is this first date vibes?
No, this is we've been dating, bro. It wasn't even that long. I think it was a weekend, 2 weeks in, maybe.
You already had a picture of you? Oh gosh.
And so I go reach to take it down, kind of joking, kind of be oh my god, ugly. He turns to me and he yeah,
Evelyn.
Yeah, but hard. So he starts he puts his hand around my neck. And he like pushes me back into the seat because we're in the car. And I was just like, ew, don't do that. Like, I was freaked out.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was just kidding. Just don't touch my stuff. And I was just like, okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, whatever. Like, maybe he was just a little too aggressive with his like trying to play fight or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, whatever. At this point, listen, I know how stupid I sound, okay? I know I should have been like, bye. But like he literally like it was like random instances. Like it wasn't like a continuous like red flag string.
It was like confusing for you. Like,
yeah.
Is this?
Yeah.
Like you just didn't know how to read it.
Yeah. And so then at one point we're like driving home from like going somewhere in LA, and he jokingly, like, I forgot what the fuck the conversation was. No, like, you know, like I can go, like I don't want to be here, like, but I was like joking, like I was like, like bye kind of thing. And he locks the car doors like while we're like on the freeway, and I was just like, I'm scared.
Oh my god.
To the point where I texted my friend Bria, and I was just like, I need you to track my location, because she had my location. I need you to track my location because I'm scared. And she was just like, why? And I was like, I don't know, it's weird. Vibes are weird. And then she was just like, okay. Later on, for some reason, he had my house key. Like, I think I left it in his car, whatever.
Okay.
He has my house key. A lot more happened in between this that was a lot more traumatic, but I don't really want to talk about it because I haven't even talked about it with my therapist.
Fair.
But at this point, I'm like, I have to get the fuck out of here. And I'm getting like anxious because he's getting more and more aggressive. He's getting more and more scared. And so I text you. I said, hey, well, first I texted my friend Dean. I said, hey, I need him to drop off my key. I need you to come because it's going to be scary. And he's just like, I can't, like any other day I would be there. And I'm just like, fuck, like, what do I do? And so I texted you, and you were with your boyfriend. And I said, I need you to come and just sit there. Just watch.
I remember.
And so you guys came, and yeah, you guys just sat there and watched as I told this guy to leave me the fuck alone, and I got my key back. I was so anxious. I was shitting bricks, bro. And my now husband was in that branch as well. He was also a teller.
Okay.
Just watching me freak the fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
He was like, are you okay? And I was just like, no, I'm like panicking. And it was just like, they're there. You're fine. But yeah. So that's like a Hinge date horror story. But it's not that. The thing is, like, it wasn't just one date. Like, I fucked up for sure. And I went on multiple dates with this guy. And I shouldn't have. But that's like Hinge date, like, horror story.
I bet. I've actually never been on a dating website. I've never used any of it, so
I think you would. I love your current boyfriend. Don't get me wrong, but I think you would thrive. I think you would thrive on a dating website.
That's funny.
Just because they so quickly give you whatever you want.
Period.
And I think you're so good at getting whatever you want. And I think you know where I'm going.
I do. I actually do know where you're going.
And this is my favorite story of yours.
Okay. So my story. Do you guys remember guy number 2 from story number 1?
Do we all recall? Yes.
Okay. So after that situation with guy number 1 and guy number 3, listen, guy number 2 stuck. He was like, because, okay, keep in mind, this dude really wanted to be with me.
Right.
And I always made it clear I don't want anything serious. And so I think he thought this was his moment to shine, like, oh my gosh, she's going through something, I'm gonna stick it with her, and then she's just gonna want me.
Right.
So he stayed around, and this was guy number 2. This was a couple months later too. We would hang out, whatever. And guy number 2 always said how he wanted to be with me and he would do anything for me, blah, 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 blah. He would do anything for me. And after we had that conversation about him like expressing how he felt, a couple hours later I was just scrolling through Instagram, right? Oh, I'm sorry, TikTok. I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this video and it was of a girl and she captioned it, if he really wanted to be with you, he would sell you $1,500.
Right. I love that. Keep going.
And so I'm like, oh, period. And so I send it to him. And shortly enough, he was like, you don't think I will sell you $1,500? I was like, well, why don't you just show me? You can sell me $1,500. And he sold me $1,500.
I would have taken the $1,500, blocked him right away, and been like, damn, that's crazy. That's my money now. Fuck. Anyways, first of all, what did he do? Like, what was his job?
He was still in college. He was in college.
Let me find out he gave you his FAFSA money.
It probably was. It probably was. No, but he... I don't want to share the location, but he was... I think he was a waiter, busboy. I don't know what he was. But it was for, like, this club.
Restaurant. Oh,
it was a club.
Okay.
And he was going to college at the same time.
Okay.
And so he just sent it to me. And I'm pretty sure it was his FAFSA money. But it's okay. I still had $1,500.
The way when she told me this story the first time, I was just like, what else can you do?
It was funny because I think you didn't believe me.
Right.
And I was like, look at the Zelle.
No. And one thing about Janitzi is that she's going to have receipts. I think most of her storage on her phone is just receipts.
It's because you never know when somebody's going to try to switch up.
I love that for you.
And I think it's just my trauma talking.
No,
I will keep
100%.
it until you say that never happened. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because the screenshots from 2017 say otherwise. I will pull them up right now.
The way, like, I swear, you have way too many receipts on that phone. I'll be like, when is this from? Middle school? I'm like, for what? Why do you care?
No, honestly. And so guy number 2, he would, and I do feel bad. But at the same time, I don't, because he knew from the start, I don't want to be with you. Let's just hang out. Let's go places. Let's make memories. Let's have fun.
Wait, before we're done with the $1,500.
Okay.
What happened after that? He sold you the money and you said thanks?
He was pretty upset. He was like, I can't believe you're making me do this just so I can show you that I want to be with you. You could have said no. But you didn't.
Period.
Anyway.
Period. And so... he sent you the money.
He sent me the money, and then we fought a little bit after that, but...
Did he want it back?
He did want it back.
Period. What did he say?
He was just like... and this was... He didn't let it go for a cool moment, because he zelled me the money, and at first he was like, see, I can give you whatever you want, whatever. And then... I don't even know what happened. It turned into an argument, and he was like... it's just, you're just so rude and you're so mean. Like, I sell you $1,500 and you don't even appreciate it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, sir, you could have said no.
Right.
But that sounds like a you problem now.
Also, it was an Instagram video.
Yeah, like...
You know how many there are that's like, if you don't like this, you're going to hell right now? And his ass is probably like, fuck, let me like this. What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah, and so, I feel bad.
But he's a dumbass.
But yeah, honestly, you're a fucking dumbass. And it's like, there's just two sides of me. And now I do feel bad because I also feel like I was in my villain era after my breakup.
And the way I loved it, the amount of stories that would come out of this era was so good.
I really was in my villain era. And sometimes now that I think about it, I'm like, fuck, like, you know, like, that was pretty mean. But also, like, I don't feel bad because, again, it's just like, it was a little ha-ha hee-hee moment. It wasn't like, you weren't at gunpoint, like, zell me.
Right.
You know?
So how do you guys get past this?
That's it. We just get past it. We argued about it. And I told him, like, well, if you want a bag, you have a bag. I don't remember if I sent it back, but I must have. I don't remember. But we fought about it, and then he's like, no, I don't even need a bag. It's just, I just feel like you're so ungrateful. And I remember when he called me ungrateful, I told him, well, what are you still doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Again, because I'm in my villain era. I don't want anything with you. I literally just want to go to the club and get drunk at this point.
Period.
And so he was still sticking around. And again, I think he wanted to be with me that bad that he wanted to show me I will put up with you.
Right.
And I honestly, I take accountability. I take advantage of that.
I love that. Listen, I think he was a little dumb for that.
No, he was.
You could not. No. No amount of Instagram videos will make me send somebody $1,500. Not that I have $1,500. I have like $2 to my name currently. But if I have that kind of money, you can't send me a video that's going to be like, unless somebody is like literally holding hostage, nothing is gonna.
Yeah. And so I even told him that. And so I'm like, dude, you could have said no. Here's your fucking money if you want your money back. He's like, it's not even. His thing was more like I didn't appreciate it enough.
Right.
I don't know if he wanted something else in exchange for $1,500, but he didn't get it, and I think that's why he was mad.
Right. He's like, you know what this could have bought me? You know how many girls I could have got with this?
And so anyway, yeah, this is still guy number 2. But there's, again, because me and guy number 2 were hanging out for so long, there's a bunch of stories that went on with guy number 2.
Okay.
And this is the one where we went to, it was my friend's birthday, and we got like a huge Airbnb in Big Bear. And again, these are people that I went to high school with, so it's not weird. It's not like weird if I hang out with his friends because
right.
You know, majority of them are also my friends. It wasn't weird. So I go and we celebrate my friend's birthday in Big Bear, and at this point, everybody's hammered. Everybody's just on the verge of, if they're not blacked out, they're on the verge of blacking out at this point. And so I remember there was a jacuzzi in the Airbnb, and the girls were like, oh, let's go in the jacuzzi, whatever. So they went to their rooms to change, and I went to my room to change. And my room was actually downstairs. And I remember he followed me downstairs. And then he was like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, oh, it's because the girls want to get in the jacuzzi, so we're going to get in the jacuzzi. I don't know if what he said was a lie, or I don't know if what he said was true. But he's like, oh, the girls are not going in the jacuzzi anymore. I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. So I start to go back upstairs, but he holds me back from going back upstairs. He's like, let's just go to bed. Everyone's going to bed already. And this room had a lot of beds in it. So me and a couple other friends shared that room. So I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll go to bed. I said, I just need to pee really quick. And so he comes in the bathroom with me. And then I'm like, he's like, just go pee. And I'm like, I'm not peeing with you in here. And again, keep in mind, it's weird how the body works, because I was so drunk that I think my sober conscious was like, you need to sober the fuck up, because you need to defend yourself right now. I think it was just like an adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like, you know. No. And so he's like, okay, fine, I'll pee. So he pees, but again, he doesn't let me out of the restroom. So I'm just there. Like, I turn around and I'm in the restroom. And after he's done peeing, he turns off the lights. He turns off the fucking lights. And I'm like, he tries things. And I'm like, get the fuck off of me. Get the fuck off of me. Get the fuck off of me. We literally start fighting to the point. This dude, he's big. He's a big dude. I try pushing him off of me. And I don't know what happened that I remember my straightener falling off the floor, and it made like a huge noise that it woke up my friend that was in the room, and he opens the door and he gets out really fast. And my other friend was like, what's going on? Like, are you guys good? He's like, no, yeah, bro, we're good. And thank God for my straightener falling and making a loud sound, because that's the only way that the door was open. That's the only way the door got open, and I was able to get out. This is still guy number 2 from story number 1.
Janitsi, that's so scary. The way I have a bathroom story with the guy that I talked about too is crazy. Yeah. But I'm just like,
you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah. I'm not ready there. I'm not there yet. But like, I do also have a bathroom story, and it's like, what the fuck is it with the bathrooms?
Yeah.
It's like I got so claustrophobic. I was like, these walls are closing in.
It's like you feel the room getting smaller
Yes.
and smaller. And it's like, I'm not a claustrophobic person. Like, I'm okay with small spaces. But for whatever reason that day, it was just very much
Because you
like...
just know, like, you're in danger.
Yeah, and again, I was drunk. I was so drunk. I don't remember how I was able to just wake up. Like, just, you need to... I don't know. It was so weird.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
It's weird.
I hate men.
I think so too, but I love my boyfriend.
I love my husband.
No, but honestly, it was just so weird. And after that, honestly, I was just like, I can't keep hanging out with you. And at this point, I think because he was so frustrated at the fact that I genuinely did not want to be with him the way that he wanted something, it started frustrating him, or it started like making him like, if it's not your way, I will. Like,
yeah.
You know, it felt very much like that. And so I remember at this point, like, I was just over it. Like, I stopped replying to him. I kind of just stopped. I started distancing myself. And yeah, he was just like kind of weird about it. I do have another story that can tag along with guy number 2, but I don't know if you want to share yours.
I don't have another story. All my other, like, first date stories or, like, dating stories were pretty tame. Like, this one guy really went above and beyond and fucking me up, okay? But all the other guys, pretty tame. Like, pretty nice guys. I dated a guy that, like, lived in Canada, and he came over here for a job. And he, like, treated me to, like, the nicest meal because he was all paid by his job. Which now, having a husband who, like, gets to do that, he, like, gets to travel and, like, he gets to expense things on his card, I see how not special it is. Do you get me? Like, my husband, like, they give him a certain amount to go travel, and they give him a certain amount for food. And, like, he gets to rent a car, and it's like everything that guy did. And I thought he was so cool. Like, I thought, like that original guy, I was just like, oh my God, like, they sent him here for work, and like he's paying with it, like with the black card from like work.
A black card that's not his.
Right, like I just thought it was so cool. Turns out, like, it's, I mean, not that it's not bad. Like, I love when my husband gets to do that, and we're like, fuck it, let's go. You know, it's not our money. But yeah, it was just like, looking back, I'm like, bruh, like, it's like standard. He's probably
like,
doing
the bar was really low back then.
Yeah. And I'm like, the way he probably does that at every city he goes to is crazy. Yeah. So basically, all my stories, pretty tame. Nothing really crazy has ever happened. I know you have one other story. And I really want to hear it.
Okay. This story, again, it's still guy number 2 included.
Okay.
In this story. But it's also the story of when I met my boyfriend.
Okay, period.
So this was after Big Bear. I believe so. I don't remember the timeline. But anyway, I go to this wedding, right? It was my sister-in-law, one of her friends from high school was getting married. And I like telling this story because I feel like you can tell how life works and how everything gets aligned, because I wasn't supposed to go to this party at all. And so she was just talking to me about it, and she's like, oh, Saturday I'm going to a party and they're gonna have banda. And it would have been my first party with banda after COVID. So I jokingly told her, damn, like, TFTI, I haven't been to a party. She's like, no, yeah, let's go. Like, one of my friends is going and she needs a +1 because her husband's not gonna go. I was like, okay, cool, like, I'm down to go. So we go to this party, and my boyfriend's he's a musician, so he was playing in the banda at this party, and that's how I met him. And he wasn't supposed to play either. It was a last minute gig for him. So sometimes I'm like, damn, like, imagine I never went to that wedding, or you didn't end up playing. We literally would have never met. He asked me out on a date, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm down, whatever.
Wait, pause. I feel like you're missing the rom-com that happened, Because if I remember correctly, she came to work the next day. Like, oh my god, I met a guy. And he was in the banda. And like we made eye contact.
Okay. Wait, do you want to get into that story?
I mean, you could just like talk about it a little bit.
Okay, so
because I think it's so cute. Like I do think it's like a really cute like little rom-com moment.
Okay, yeah. So let me backtrack a little bit. I wasn't supposed to be at this wedding, and he wasn't supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mariachi was playing, and then the banda comes up, and me and my sister-in-law and her friends were dancing, right? And so I wasn't drinking at this point just yet. And then one of my I'm gonna call her my friend. One of my friends, she's like, "That guy's staring at you," and I was like, "Who?" And there's a bunch of fucking guys in the banda, so I was just like, I don't know which one you're talking about. So I was like, who? And she like tells me which one. And so I started paying attention to it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were dancing, and then I noticed that he was looking at me, and then that's why I said, oh my god, I'm getting nervous. And that's when I noticed that he was staring at me. And then I started drinking at this point, and so then, you know,
you're like, I need a little confidence.
I need a little confidence. So, you know, you start loosening up, and then I start making eye contact with him too. And then keep in mind, no words were exchanged throughout the night, but everything was said. Mm-hmm. No words were exchanged, but everything was said. And so, yeah, we were just kind of like making eye contact throughout the whole night. I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing. And then at the end, I remember he was just like standing kind of near me. You can tell that he kind of wanted to approach me, but he didn't approach me. He tells me now, he's like, I didn't want to approach you because I didn't want you to think like I do that to every girl that I see, you know? So he never approached me. But then he was leaving and he said bye, and then I was like, bye. And then and then yeah, the next day I go to work the next day, and I am like in the moon with the stars.
She's like, oh my god, Evelyn, you'll not believe it. Like, I met this guy. He was so cool. He was playing in the banda. And I was just like, okay, shit.
And it's funny because you can see I still am, because I'm getting like so nervous. I was so geeked over this dude, and we didn't even talk.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't know his name. I didn't know his age. I didn't know nothing of this man. But the next day, I was just like, somehow, some way, I need to find this man.
Right.
But he ended up finding me on Instagram.
Period.
Anyways. And so he found me on Instagram. That's how him and I started talking. And guy number 2 was still kind of in the picture. And guy number two was still in the picture. And me and my now boyfriend, we were talking. And he asked me out on a date. And I accepted. But because what had happened in Big Bear,
mm-hmm.
I wanted to distance myself from guy number 2. I didn't want to, be around him. And so he asked me what I was doing the day that I was supposed to go on a date. And I freaked out, and I told him, I'm hanging out with my cousin. Mm-hmm. And so, because I knew that, again, he was weird. So I knew that if I said that I was going on a date, he was going to be blowing up my phone.
Why were you still talking to him?
It wasn't, I wasn't talking to him. It was more like he kept wanting to reel me in. Like, mm-hmm. I need to talk to you, and I need to get you back mm-hmm. to how we used to. Because at this point, I had stopped hanging out with him. So he knew, like, he was losing me.
Yeah.
In a sense, I guess you can say. And so he would still talk to me to kind of reel me back in. But I was kind of scared of him at this point. I just kind of replied back, but it wasn't like how I used to. It was just kind of like a dry moment.
Yeah. You were kind of doing it in a way so that, like, not to sound the alarm so that he wouldn't go anywhere, or do anything
anything weird, because it was already weird.
Got it.
Yeah. And so, again, because he was weird, I told him I was hanging out with my cousin. But then again, he didn't really need to know who I was. Right. Again, he's not my boyfriend. He's nobody to me. I don't need to explain anything to him. I think. I don't know.
No, you don't. That's not a question.
And so I just told him I was hanging out with my cousin, because I knew, knowing him, I knew if I told him I'm going on a date, he was going to blow up my phone. He was going to just call me. And I didn't want my boyfriend to think I had somebody, or, I just didn't want to mess anything up. But it still happened. It still happened to the point where if I didn't answer his text message, he would send me something on Instagram. Or like if I didn't open the DM or like the Instagram, he would send me a Snapchat. And so either way, he was still blowing up my phone.
Right.
But at this point, me and the group of people that I would hang out with, we would share locations. So it wasn't a weird thing for him to have my location, and it wasn't a weird thing for me to have his location. And so he saw my location because I was at a bar with my boyfriend. With my now boyfriend. And he was like, oh, you're at this bar. Like, I thought you were going to hang out with your cousin. And I just didn't reply to him because I was like, okay, now you're going to start getting weird. I don't. Right. So, censoring this, the day goes on. Me and my boyfriend, okay. And so, he's calling me in the middle of it. He's calling me in the middle of it, and he's FaceTiming me in the middle of it. It got to the point where my boyfriend said, who's that? And I'm like, nobody, don't worry about it. Because it's nobody, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so it got weird. He was calling me, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so the night ends, whatever, he's taking me home.
I'm so surprised that your now boyfriend wasn't like, answer it. Because I would have been like, is nobody answer it?
In the middle of it?
I mean, no, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if he was blowing up your phone the whole time, like, afterwards, you could have been like...
Because you know what? What had happened was when me and my now boyfriend first started talking, we both made it clear to each other we don't want anything serious. And so I feel like I didn't want anything serious, and he knows this now, and he tells me, like, honestly, I wasn't looking for anything serious either, but here we are 4 years later.
Yeah. Oh, same thing with my husband, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah.
And so I think that's why it wasn't really like much of a thing.
Right.
But then he takes me home, and then guy number 2 texts me, and he's like, where are you? He had my location. He knows where the fuck I am.
Right.
Like, he just wanted to see if
I would have taken my location off.
I know, but it's fine. It's fine. I didn't think at this point. And then he texted me, where are you? And I waited because me and my boyfriend were going to go get food. And so I waited to tell him, oh, I'm getting food. So he was like, where are you? And I texted him. So I was like, I'm getting food. And then he was like, you know what? Never mind. Have a good night. I'm like, okay, you too.
Period. I've been waiting for you to say that. God damn.
I was like, I responded. I'm like, you too. And so he goes to one of my friend's house, and he just kind of like starts venting and starts saying like, how could she do this to me, and blah 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 blah, like she used me for money and whatever. Which real, but you're my age,
right?
What money? Your FAFSA money?
Your FAFSA money? Oh my god.
But he's like, you using me for money or whatever. And I didn't know this till a couple days later, where my friend told me, he was like, he followed you.
Shut the fuck up.
So he followed me throughout my whole date. So he knew where I was. He was just like texting me and like...
Ain't no way he was like outside while you were with your boyfriend doing that. And that's why he was blowing you up.
Yeah. But again, he knew from the start, which this is why he's so fucking weird. Like, he knew from the start I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want anything serious. We could just hang out. Like, let's just hang out. I was in such a toxic relationship before.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in a relationship again. So I was just, I don't want to be in a, like, we could, like, let's just hang out. We don't even have to be like that. We could just be like, why can't we just fucking be friends? Like, you know? But he followed me all throughout.
Weird.
Throughout my fucking day. My boyfriend knows this now, but thinking about it still, like, you're fucking weird. And I wish I can call him out so all the girls can be careful with him.
You should. Post this picture, imagine.
This is his Instagram. No, but yeah. Those are my stories.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you guys can clearly see who is the crazy one. But yeah, if you guys are actually curious to know more about us, or if you guys want to see us talk about something in specific, let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, we'll go ahead and reach out to you guys?
Oh,
On
we'll
Instagram?
put
Or,
yeah,
like a story.
yeah. Put like DM us through Instagram. I realized that when I posted the first video, I put nothing in the description. So I'll do that this time. I swear.
Or if you guys want to tell us your crazy stories or weird stories, that'd be cool. We'll keep you anonymous. We'll just post your picture and then show who's saying it, but we won't say your name.
Right. But yeah, that's it for today. We'll see you guys back next
week.
Next week
Yes.
on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.